Hey guys, Metal Rose here,
Metal Dave here.
and we're here to talk about our trip to Washington, D.C. and John Schaefer's court date. I think we're going to start the night before, where we were searching for the courthouse, and I did like a little report outside and everything, and it was kind of cool. I'll definitely link below the little report that I did the night before, and I'll link below the video about the outcome for John's court date.
Spent a good while driving around DC that night, and we spent another good while simply trying to find a place to park legally. You know, DC is a great city. I had a great trip, but finding parking is a nightmare,
It can be, especially when you're as panicked as Dave is driving in the city. So,
pretty much.
no offense. He was not used to driving in the city. I'm a little bit more used to it. So, we were having a hard time and we were driving around and I was like, "You know what, Dave? Why don't you just let me drive at this point?" And like, a couple times he was like, "No." And I was like, "Just let me drive." And then we found a parking space rather quickly. But it was kind of weird. Like we did just sort of find a temporary parking space on the side of where the courthouse was, and then like we walked up. There was no need for us to park in a parking garage at that point. It wasn't very busy, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking. I can understand, and I've been lost in like cities I know, so it is really nerve-wracking. So, you get a pass, Dave. It's not like it was that big of a deal. But we found our way. We parked. I did the whole parking by app thing, and we walked down and we checked out the courthouse.
A lot of really nice spots. There's some statues.
And then I took a video basically getting people ready, letting them know we were there in Washington, D.C., that the court date was actually happening because I had several people messaging me telling me like it was never going to happen. I mean, and then it did happen. So
He
really,
could have been look. He could have been looking at 5 years.
or more, like they could have just done whatever they wanted to do. It was
They,
just really nerve-wracking and scary when it all first went down. It started to calm down after a couple of years, but how were we even to know that that was where things were going to lead?
we didn't know. It was a long 3 or 4 years before we knew anything.
Yeah. I tried to prevent misinformation for the last 3, 4 years because, everybody's on like this big misinformation campaign, but some of these media outlets were really on like this big misinformation campaign. Why didn't they get John's court transcripts and actually do their research? I don't understand.
And we're just two fools from New Jersey that did this.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a fool.
Oh, I
I
wouldn't either. I'm just saying that generically.
I just didn't think it made sense. They just kept demonizing him in the media. And then videos were coming out and they're like, check out these videos. And like, it was just like a whole bunch of nothing happening. A little bit of yelling. Like everybody, like whenever everybody yells at cops when they go to protests, like, is that new? Like, I'm sorry. That's kind of why I laughed when they mentioned that he had like yelled at the I'm like, like I guess what I meant, like it's not like everybody just yells at the cops, but when, like you're at protests, it's like, oh, there's a cop. Let me yell at him.
Yelling and pointing.
Because that's like the worst that you really should do. You really can't be violent with people,
No, not at all.
so yell it, all right, so a little disrespect toward the cops and, a little bit of walking around and
But thankfully, he didn't do any of that. He was just
he
there
didn't do anything to
and then
hurt
left.
anybody or make cause any destruction, but Blabbermouth and Metal Sucks and all these different organizations just wanted to keep saying that stuff, like acting like he was a part of some type of crazy conspiracy or something, and that just wasn't the case.
Oh, in the comments section, just it got to the point where I just couldn't read through it anymore.
Oh, I was on top of that stuff. I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
I know you were. I know you were.
you're like, get off the internet. I'm like, no.
And I did the same to a point, but eventually, I just for my own sanity, I just
You,
stay off
you know what
Blabbermouth.
happened? For me, like the best thing that happened was that I started kind of telling people, to get the hell off the page. Like even Iced Earth's page, it's like, what are you doing on the page, wasting your time like bothering somebody that you hate so much? You know. So what ended up happening was I said enough to enough people enough times that other people started following in suit, and I didn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's the internet for you.
A lot of people were just like, what I was doing for me. Like they knew that there was other people knew there was a lot of misinformation going around about John, and they were up to the task once they saw what I was doing. And I'm not trying to take credit, but I definitely noticed a pattern after I had gone to those levels, and stuck up for him. So, yeah, so I made that video the night before. My kid actually took the video. Johnny Ray was there, and he did a really good job taking that video. I'm really proud of him. The next day we barely slept because we're on like a different schedule because of our work schedules, second shift and
Yeah.
whatnot. So,
Waking up at 8:30 that morning was
oh,
not an easy task.
oh my God, my brain was just like, oh, how am I doing this?
And we had to go in proper court clothing, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I had to fix my makeup and make it like, not like this, like make it very simple and
But we got out there, we got to it, parked and made our way over to the courthouse. We had to walk around a little bit to find the right door to go into because the main entrance we thought that you could just walk in there and it was barricaded. And I'm like, I don't think we can go in this way.
I was like, well, let's just walk around at like the bend.
Eve-
I'm sure,
yeah, eventually we found a door, and it wasn't even the door you'd think it was. It was just a door on the side of the
it
building.
it happened to be the place that we parked the day before.
Yeah, we should just park there again.
Were there, I don't know if there were
There
parking.
probably weren't.
Yeah.
A weekday morning in DC in front of a courthouse. Yeah,
Yeah, that morning we like what was good about going the night before is that we mapped out exactly where it was. We didn't get lost. And we knew we were like, okay, we'll park at we saw the prices and we said we'll park at this parking garage and that was
yeah,
it.
yeah, it was perfect.
It was pretty flawless and we weren't late. That's really
I,
hard in the morning when you're
yeah,
not normally getting up that
yeah.
early.
I usually wake up at 10 o'clock, and we had to wake up at like 8. We had
Yeah.
to we had to be there at 10.
Ugh.
We went to the courthouse. We went through the security screening, and then we got into the elevator, got up to the third floor, and went down the hallway. And as we're walking down the hallway, we see Matt, Freddie, John, and I'd say there was maybe 11 people.
I think that
Uh,
sounds right.
11 people were there.
There were some random people there that weren't a part of the team, like the one girl falling asleep.
Yeah, I think those people were maybe the sketch artists that were doing it. I'm not sure, but they all had like clipboards and writing stuff down. And there were a couple other people we didn't recognize.
Where are the sketches? I'd really, what would be awesome? If we could get somebody to sketch the whole court date and then you do the voices. Like you could do Matt Barlow and John Schaffer and Freddie's voices. Like cause like when you read the books, you like do Jim Morrison's voice and stuff.
I would not attempt. I would not attempt to do Matt Barlow's voice. I would not even go there.
Well, I mean, you kind of do like a good impression of people's speaking voices. You could probably do a good Matt Barlow speaking voice. I don't know about a singing voice, but
I can't. I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even attempt.
well, you've done John Schaefer's though.
Yeah, but
I guess that's easier.
And anyway, there was like 11 people there. We get there, and John comes up to me, shakes my hand, and thanks me for my support. And, this was the first time I'd met him. I'd seen him in concert a few times, and him shaking my hand and thanking me. I kind of hope I didn't sound like a bumbling idiot, completely starstruck, but I probably did. I probably said something like, "Hi, I'm Dave. I'm Sandra's bass player," or something, some
Oh my God. I don't
ridiculous stuff like that.
know. Bass player Dave.
Apparently, that's what I am now.
I'm
So be
sorry.
it.
Dave Myers. Like it's like, it's a whole name.
Anyway, the everyone seems very happy with the outcome, especially since he may have been looking at time being locked up. And when I looked up Judge Mehta, I had sent you, an article about him. And turns out he was very liberal. So, I sent you the message to say, oh no, he's screwed. Yeah, this guy's gonna throw the book at him. But thankfully that was not the case.
Do you remember what I said? I was like, well, I was reading about him and I was like, well, he likes hip hop music. And you were like, whoa, like you were just like, well, that's even worse. Like,
yeah, I was like,
and I was like, yeah, but I think he might actually like he might be cool with the metal industry.
thankfully,
He might be
thankfully I
cool with
was,
music. He just might understand, okay, this is a musician. Because like it's rare to see like in a judge's profile, like, oh, I like this type of music. So he obviously is a fan of music. Maybe he's not a fan of metal, but he understands what music can do for somebody. So I kind of was like, well, maybe this is actually a good match. And other
yeah,
people were sort of saying, like, I was trying to be positive, but some
yeah,
people
it was.
were saying, oh,
I'd
it's going to
say
be
it
a
was.
bad match.
I'd say it was a good match, and then thankfully I was wrong in that. He's a very reasonable man. I think if I ever get into some legal trouble, I want a judge like like Judge Mehta, and I want a lawyer like John's lawyers because those guys were good.
Yeah, they were really everybody was really good. I mean, the whole day was stunning. I mean, I had no idea that Matt and Freddie and David Newman Stump and Todd Wright. I mean, I didn't know of Todd Wright, but he was really awesome.
Oh yeah, all great people.
I didn't know everybody was going to speak, and that was sort of a special experience to see that John had these long-lasting friendships.
Oh yeah. After they dismissed us, you only got to say one thing to man. I said, "Hey, that was a great speech." He said, "Thanks."
I mean, I can't blame everybody for wanting to get out of there, though. It was just such,
Yeah, not at all.
it, I even wanted to leave. I felt like we were lingering too long. I'm like, I got to text people. I got to get out there and tell everybody what happened.
No,
I
no,
wasn't going to break rules and like, start my like you weren't allowed to have cameras there. So I wasn't going to break rules in like the hallway and, like, but I did sneak and text Mike McGill because he said, "Can you tell me before you tell everybody
we
else?"
did. We stayed in the hallway and chat for a good 10-15 minutes before we decided to head out.
Yeah, like I felt rude when we got outside, but you guys were still chatting, and I was like, "Look, I really got to make this video before." I just didn't want Blabbermouth to come out with it first. Like I
Yeah,
got to
oh,
get
yeah,
out
I
there.
hear you.
I got to
No,
get out there.
we let you do your thing, and then
Yeah, I
just
wasn't
kept.
trying to be a jerk and like walk away, but I wanted I wanted to put my thing out there for the fans first because I wanted it to come from, I'm coming from a fair place. I really did a lot of research on this. I knew that John wasn't guilty of the things they were saying he was guilty of, like in the media. So, like, I wanted to put my thing out there before theirs just because I knew that they were just going to include, like, copy and paste some crap from the last article instead of
From the previous
actually like
article.
getting a lot. They could have been smart and they could have gotten a live transcript, which I found out after the fact. If anything like this ever comes up again, I'm going to get a live transcript, initially, and then get the real transcript as well. So that, because there's going to be typos. Like I want the official thing, but I want to get the live transcript so I can actually, read things right away. It was a lot to take in, and I wanted to get the information as accurate as possible. But it's actually not too expensive. If these media corporations are making the money that they're saying they are, they should be investing in these court transcripts. Why does it take a single mom and, a couple of friends just to do that?
Yeah, who am I? I'm just a fan.
Well, we're the American public, and that's why, we have the right to buy these things, though.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I'm really proud of the work that we put in. It did take effort and time to go out to Washington, D.C., and to actually stand up for what we believed in. We we were like we were the only two fans that went out there. I mean, I'm glad it
Yeah,
wasn't a media circus for John, and maybe, it's better that it wasn't crazy mobbed, but it would have been
yeah,
nice to see a couple of other people there.
yeah. A couple other people that way it's like everyone that John knows, and who am I? Just a fan from New Jersey.
But you know what? Maybe it's for the best because we're a little bit more removed from the situation, so we can at least like, report what we see from like a fair perspective. We're not biased. We're actually looking at all the facts.
True.
Yes, we care about John and his music, but the facts are very important, and the facts really are that he was there that day. He wasn't involved with the Oath Keepers to the extent that the
The
media was
extent that
acting
they
like it
think that
was.
they
Yeah, he didn't really cause any harm. He was there for 10 minutes and left. I think that was the biggest takeaway of the day. And the fact of the matter is that he did plead guilty first, and he was extremely remorseful. That was an important takeaway.
yeah, he took responsibility, and that's something that deserves respect.
It
Someone
really
who takes responsibility and admits they were wrong and tries to make themselves better. Those are very honorable traits in a person.
it really makes a big difference. And we learned
And I
that.
wish more people knew that
I do
because
too. I
because all the comments online are just horrid.
they're disgusting. And John is a hardworking man, and he's a good person, and he's taken a lot of time to improve himself in the last couple of years. And he really must be an amazing person to have friends that traveled from all over the country just to come out to defend him. It was a great day. We enjoyed our time there. We are happy to be a part of it because we really care about John and we love John. And
And if you told me when I was 16, 17, first discovering Ice Dirt, that I would one day go to a go to a court appearance for John Schaffer, I'd have looked at you like you were nuts. And after the court was dismissed and John was walking around, shaking everybody's hands, thanking them, I said, "Ugh, I wish everybody could have been here. Like everyone in the media, the fans, just like, ugh."
well, yeah, because
So hopefully these videos go viral and get a million views.
well, yeah, because I mean, the judge even said he deserves his life back, he deserves his career back, and that he's a good person.
Yeah, and that's very good of Judge Mehta to say that.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I just hope it's helpful for his civil case, and I hope that us bringing, attention to this stuff really helps as well, because I want more eyes on this, because what's happening with that civil case isn't fair. And we all have to obviously be peaceful and everything, but we need to raise awareness because John did not cause any destruction that day or violence. His lawyer was saying he didn't even cause $2,000 worth of damage.
No,
He really doesn't deserve to be a part of any kind of lawsuit. So we just have to keep our eyes on this and keep the faith and keep
how
loving
how
and
how
keep
much
loving Iced Earth and keep loving Demons and Wizards and Sons of Liberty and just keep moving on with our lives,
how
Everything.
much does one person have to suffer? Should one bad action ruin someone's for the rest of their life?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Not at all.
Especially when it's not a violent act where
He didn't murder anyone. He didn't cause any damage. He didn't steal anything.
no, he didn't. And that's the important takeaway too. He's not a bad person. So just remember that. And, if you believe in something or if you see something that seems a little funny in the media, speak up, say something, and do something about it if you can. And sometimes just doing something about it is paying attention, doing the research, and spreading the word.
Well, we did something that day,
We sure did.
and happy to have been there.
Me too. And as usual, guys, like and subscribe and stay tuned.